Hello there. Welcome to your new dystopian future, being paid to sit in the dark in your own home. Not only is the national grid putting the coal-fired power stations on standby to keep the lights on, smart meter customers are being offered money to not use energy and sit in the dark in their own homes. According to reports, 1 million people have happily signed up to cut back on their electricity use during the high demand period between 5 and 6 in the evening, in return for a tenner. And it seems that a whole £1 million has been set aside to pay for this demand flexibility service. Wonder how long that million will last, especially as 1 million people have signed up at a tenner a night. But when the clock strikes 6 p.m. tonight, presumably that 1 million people will whack the washing machine and dishwasher straight back on and spend the extra tenner on charging the car battery. So it will have achieved the aim of spreading some energy demand out over a couple of hours instead of just one. But this is a modern economy, isn't it? So why are we being forced to do this? What next? Pay hard-pressed people a tenner a meal not to eat food? In most sane worlds, people pay to get a good or service. Now we're going to be paid for not receiving it. How about paying people to not drive their cars during rush hour, or not use water? And next year, if the gas squeeze keeps up, will we be paid not to use it? All based on paying a lot of people to not work during the pandemic. How far will this end up going? According to the national grid, this does not indicate that blackouts are on the way, merely that supply margins are tighter than normal. And the money for those 1 million people will come from the rest of us as we watch our bills go up in response. Paying people to basically live in the dark for an hour. What a sad indictment of decades of political mishandling of UK energy security. And what is the government solution? Wait until the weather gets warmer, then continue the claims that the UK is about to burst into flames and double down on net zero over the summer, all while getting ready to pay us 20 quid a night to freeze next year. But going back a few years, or more likely decades, people would have been asked to help the country out by doing something like this, and they would have happily responded. But nowadays we feel the need to bribe or pay people to help out. Now the Tories know they are toast in 2024, so I doubt they'll do much forward thinking or planning now, other than to firefight the growing number of scandals within their ranks. If it's not tax matters, it's loans and BBC appointments and even seatbelt gate. But what are the concrete plans to deal with our energy security in the shortest time frame possible? Is it really just to plonk more wind turbines and solar panels on all available space on land and sea while shutting down the North Sea? All while hoping we can get through all the winters between now and 2050 by employing cheap gimmicks like this one. Our former Prime Minister Boris Johnson has once again turned up in Ukraine, and this time it was a bit of a surprise. And while he was there, Boris told President Zelensky that he would do whatever he could do to help, something that has raised eyebrows with questions about what can he do to help. And many people are rounding on him for being an attention-seeking opportunist, hoping to raise his political profile for another tilt at the Tory leadership and to get back into number 10. But to be fair, is there more to what the Ukrainians called a visit that was neither official nor private? Now, some are saying his visit could end up undermining Rishi Sunak's foreign policy, but the PM's press secretary said Rishi Sunak was always supportive of all colleagues, showing that the UK is behind Ukraine and will continue to support them. Now remember that President Zelensky and Boris Johnson have formed quite a close relationship, so using Boris as a sort of unofficial intermediary could be quite a sensible move. If the trust is there, then frank exchanges and negotiations can take place and messages brought back to the UK. Remember, someone had to pay to get Boris there and back. Troubles are mounting for the already embattled Tory chairman Nadhim Zahawi. His multi-million-pound tax affairs and penalty are already wobbling his political foundations. But now the Times reports that he falsely claimed that he had not exchanged messages with David Cameron when the former Prime Minister was trying to secure government loans for Greensill Capital. But the select committee looking into the lobbying scandal has obtained the WhatsApp messages to him from David Cameron. Oops. But Zahawi's replies were deleted, and the inquiry said it was their understanding that Zahawi didn't know how they came to be deleted. Isn't he an internet-type entrepreneur? Must be another careless but not deliberate act. And now we learn that last September the Cabinet Office shut down the Crime Stoppers COVID hotline, meant to help uncover billions of quid's worth of fraudulent pandemic loans. And there's over £1 billion worth already classified as fraud. Anyway, the Cabinet Office is migrating the data to another system so that the Insolvency Service can pick it up. Now this is only a hotline, and the trails have by now probably gone very cold, so I would reckon that there is not exactly a flood of people calling that hotline number. But it does seem to be an indicator that the government is quite happy to bench the inquiry into the largest ever government cash giveaway. And you have to wonder that if doing so helps to get certain people off the hook, names that some members of the government would rather not see come to light. It seems that the US authorities have a problem with stewardship of classified documents. First we had Donald Trump having his Mar-a-Lago home raided by the FBI, who then carted off 15 cartons of classified documents, and the whole lefty world went into meltdown. But now we have classified documents being found in the Wilmington home of President Biden. Whatever the merits of either case, isn't it concerning that such material seems to be floating about out there with no control or custody? Now, most classified material will be held on digital drives, and there will presumably be protocols for printing them off and having an audit trail for each copy printed or copied. Then people have to sign for them. Or are US presidents and their staff above all of that? Raiding the homes of former and current US presidents looking for missing classified documents is not a good look, along the lines of UK ministers chatting between themselves over insecure and hacked mobile devices.